Hi, everybody. I'm Martha Howard of Marvelous You Styles, and you're watching Trendy with Kim Allison.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Trendy with Kim Allison. And today I'm catching up with my longtime friend in the industry, Martha Howard. She's been behind the chair for over 30 years. She's active in the natural hair community through at Natural and Professional, and she even uses her voice in public spaces like Cupcakes and Conversations. But what you might not know, she's also a cake baker, a line dancer, and a karaoke lover. So let's dive into her journey, her passions, and where she's headed next. Are you ready to be inspired, everybody? Martha, my dear friend Howard,
Woo-hoo.
welcome to the show.
Thank you, Kim, for having me. This is
Oh my
awesome to be
gosh.
here.
Thank you for taking time out of your Monday because I know us hairdressers is busy on Mondays.
Yes,
So I
yes.
appreciate you spending this time with me and my audience.
Oh, you're welcome.
Absolutely. So we have so much to unpack because you've been in the industry for many, many decades, as I have myself. I'm at
Mm-hmm.
29. I think you're at 30.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep, 30.
Okay. So how did you I always say we don't find hair, hair finds us. So how did hair find you?
Hair found me when I was 11 years old. Being originally from Chicago, and I also grew up in Gary, Indiana. And my mother and father found a hairstylist that they adored at the Vidal Sassoon salon in Water Tower
Okay.
in downtown Chicago. And very first time I went with my mom to get my hair done, and I was mesmerized. I was just like watching, just looking around the stylist, just the way they moved and how they cut hair, colored hair, whatever, chemical process, whatever they were doing. They were so like just like elegant. It was like watching a ballet. And just a voice just went off my head. I could do this.
Who did you destroy first? Your mannequin head, or
The
your
mannequin head.
doll,
Yeah, we all
or a
had the Barbie
person?
doll. We all had the Barbie doll head. Yeah. So it's like, I mainly just cut it and, just practice with different like styling aids. That's about it. I didn't color or anything like that. So, and then around high school, towards the end, I think I was like 2 months out from graduating, and the stylist that had been cutting my hair, I was a typical teenager. You go there and you don't say anything. You're just watching and looking around. And she just like started a conversation with me. She said, "So what are you going to do after school? Or you're graduating, right?" I said, "I am. I'm a senior." She said, "So what are you going to do?" I said, "I'm going to go to college, go out to Arizona." She said, "Arizona? Okay." She says, "Why Arizona?" I said, "Well, because it's warm." It's another fun fact about me. Growing up, born and raised in the Midwest, I knew I did not want to have to spend my adult life in cold weather.
Mm,
No. I was
yeah.
like, no, I'm done with this. So I
Mhm.
knew that. And she says, "What do you want to study?" And I kind of gave her a whole list of things from like, oh, I could do physical therapy, psychology, but then fashion is cool and all this stuff. And she says, "Have you ever thought about doing hair?" Now, I don't know why she like asked me that,
Yeah.
because again, I was a typical teenager. They're mute. "I think you'd be really good as a hairstylist." I'm like, really? And she says, "A matter of fact, we have a school here that we are aligned with." And she said, "You could go to school, and then when you finish, you can come here and be an assistant." I'm like, oh, wow. It did intrigue me. And my mom came to get me, and she had mentioned it to my mom. And my mom was like, okay, well, maybe that's something to consider. And I always felt like she wanted me to go to college. My mom was like,
Mhm.
MSW,
Oh,
she counseled people. And so she just thought that college was the greatest thing. It changes your life. It helps you to think. It teaches you to independence, blah, blah, blah. That did intrigue her a little bit. So she's like, well, that is an option. You could think about it. But then I said, I'm just going to try college. And so I did. I moved out here. I was down in Tucson and went to the U of A for a couple of years and bounced around. I think I'll try this. Well, maybe I'll try this. And
mhm.
there's just a lot of things that you're just kind of lost and you just don't know, who to talk to. I
Yeah.
didn't have any mentors. And so I was just like kind of out there lost and just going through it. So I finished like 2 years. The very last semester, I did poorly.
Yeah.
And then I felt like, well, I'm going to transfer to ASU. My brothers were up here and, it seemed like they were having a great time. And I moved up to, Tempe, took like 2 classes, again, just messing around. I took a swim for fitness class and a nutrition 101 class. It's like, okay,
Hilarious. Yeah. Yeah.
What direction are you trying to go in?
Right. Right. Exactly.
So
Yeah.
by that time, my parents had moved out here, and my
Mhm.
mom had suggested, she said, listen, I had said to her, I said, well, I think I'm going to go back down to Tucson. And that's when she said, listen, you need to take a semester off and really think about what you want to do and make some money.
Yep.
And you want to buy a car. So, and that's what I did. I waited tables at a Mexican restaurant, earned, quite a bit of money doing that, bought myself a car. I was driving in Tempe. I lived in Tempe, and I kept seeing Levon's Beauty College, which is right off of Broadway between Hardy and Mill, right next to Tempe High School. And then I thought, like, well, maybe I could be a makeup artist, because I didn't think I could like do hair. I thought that it was, it was just intimidating. As much as I loved it, I just thought that, well, maybe I'm not as creative as, as people would think I am. I don't know.
Yeah.
So one day I just drove by there. It was about like 2 or 3 in the afternoon. I was off that day, and I said, let me just go in there and see. And so I went in there and I talked to the director. I said, well, what about makeup artistry? Back then, it wasn't as big as it is now. It's huge
Right.
now. She said, I think you would be fantastic because your makeup looks gorgeous, but I really think you would be good at hair. Again, it was a second person that just like said that. So she said, I think you ought to give it a try, and sign up.
Mhm.
So next thing I know, I signed up, went home with the paperwork. I had moved in with my parents and said, I want to go to beauty school. My mom was like, oh my gosh, what about college? So again, it's that stigma that
Yeah.
the hair industry has. It's like
Mhm.
you're not smart enough, or you can't cut it in college. That's not always true. But my dad, he was all for it. He said, "Oh yeah, that's gonna be great. You'll make money." But my mom she just had her own perception or misconception of like, oh, don't be that one hairstylist where you're putting on fluffy pink shoes and they got the stories going.
Yes.
She was a little bougie.
Yes.
Don't do that. If you're going to do it, then be the best at it.
So you came out of beauty school, and did you have your first experience at a corporate salon, or did you go straight to working behind the chair, renting a station or assisting for a seasoned stylist?
I assisted a little bit during when I was in beauty school, like towards the end. And it was this one hair salon. I forgot the name of it, but it used to be right next door to Bullock's. I don't know if you remember Bullock's
Yep.
department store.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So there was a
Uh-huh.
really, really cool salon that I worked there. I assisted two stylists there. It kind of put a bad taste in my mouth about assisting
Mm,
because all I did was shampoo, apply color, apply toners, and they really didn't explain to you why or the what they were doing.
yeah,
Perms, I would like rinse out, and maybe they let me neutralize, but I could never be in the back in the dispensary with them when they're mixing up color. Why they're doing this, why they're doing that, because then they're so busy. They
yeah,
were so busy, they
yeah.
didn't have time to really teach.
Mhm, mhm.
And if you could catch a glimpse of them doing a haircut, then that's great. But most of the time, they had like up to 15 to 20 clients,
Yeah.
each. So it's like
Mhm.
I was going crazy. So I did that for 3 months. And then, I said, well, I quit working there because I just concentrated on finishing beauty school. And then
Yep.
when I finished with beauty school, I worked at one salon in Awatuki for like 2 or 3 weeks, but I saw it going down the same road. This is a stylist, and all she did was, she did more like 60 and over clientele,
Okay.
and they were routine with their sets, their roller sets, and their blow drying sets, and their colors and their perms. And I'm like, okay.
Yep.
So I went to Phoenix. I went to this one salon that was called Hair Performers, and
Okay.
then they changed the name to Waveworks. And so
Yes.
I worked there for
Mhm.
under it was like the Johnson brothers, and
Yep.
I worked there for about 3.5 years.
Okay. So
Right
that's
before.
pretty much where you got your foundation, that 3.5 years,
Yeah, I
right?
got my foundation, but I learned a lot there. I learned from them, and then I learned what to do and I learned what not to do.
Mhm.
What I know now, what I should have done is like had the owner help me with education. But
Yes.
I paid for my own education. I knew I was lacking in haircutting. Sassoon Academy in Santa Monica, that was like, the best place to go to get, any type of obtain basic skills for
Yeah.
haircutting. I mean, it's like you know how to cut, but they really don't teach you how to in
Well,
like beauty school.
lines and
Lines,
sectioning
sectioning.
matter,
Right.
right? So,
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah. Mhm. And
Um,
direction.
Right. Yeah. Creating, perimeter from like short to long
Elevation, all of it.
elevation.
Yeah.
graduation, all
Yep.
that. So
Yep. Yep.
they didn't teach me that. So I
Mhm.
went to Sassoon for a week and came back and was just on fire.
Yeah.
I felt like if I wasn't going to get it from the inside the salon where I worked, then I was just going to go and get it myself. Now, mind you, now I should have assisted, but I was just so like, no, no, all they're going to do is have you shampoo. They're not going to teach you anything, blah, blah, blah. And I had gone to talk with Jerry, who owned,
Yeah.
before he became Tony and Guy, he was at Regent Street.
Regent Street. That's where I started.
And the same thing. I was like, I don't know, Jerry. He said, come on and work. I'm like, okay, I'll think about it, but I never did. I
Oh,
never did.
God, we probably would have been on the same
I know.
path, like, literally, because I worked, for 4 years.
hmm
When I started at Regent Street, it was just to train because they were opening the first Tony& and Guy.
hmm
Yes,
And I knew the
indeed.
two girls that bought Regent Street from them. They had worked with him because
Oh,
I was
yeah, I
working at
can't remember what
design in
those 2
Tempe.
girls. Yeah,
Sandra and Jennifer, I think.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I should have. I should have, and that's what I would like tell a person. It's important because not only that, you learn because they definitely have the system set up correctly
Oh, yeah.
for assistant,
Mhm,
or
mhm,
apprentice
mhm.
program.
Yep.
But you can find a mentor. I never had a mentor really.
Yeah, it's important to have a mentor, and,
hmm
as you know, this show is for the next generation, and I've had newbies on who I love. You had a couple who said, "I skipped, worked at a salon, then I left the salon earlier than I should, went on my own to go back to the salon." It's like, woo, it's rough in them
hmm
streets. And I'm like, yes, it is. If you don't leave that first experience or beauty school equipped with the right knowledge or education and tools, you will flop and fall flat on your face, which is why most hairdressers quit in the first
hmm
5 years. And
Facts.
so when you talked about how you took it upon yourself, you had the initiative and the drive to go to Sassoon and Santa Monica
hmm
despite your circumstance as a new stylist. That's why you're
hmm
still doing it today, because
hmm
you need that type of drive to survive.
hmm
And your college degree was not wasted, because psychology is exactly what you needed to study going into
hmm
hair, right?
hmm
Because you're a therapist now
Absolutely. Oh
and
yeah.
and a hairdresser. So
hmm
after 30 years, Martha, what still excites you about being behind the chair today?
Mm. I love how everything is cyclical. What's old is now new again. And
Yes.
then what's new
The
becomes old.
80s.
Yeah.
Last year was the 90s. This year, I feel like it's even going
hmm
further back.
Definitely. And I just love interacting with people. I just love that look that they get when you're finished with their hair, and they're just so like, oh my gosh, and they're just
Yeah,
like,
they're like, "Oh,
yeah.
don't you love when they start smizing? Like, they stop talking, and all of a sudden, they're it's so
Yeah, they're like
funny."
looking.
Yes, exactly. So
Yeah.
I know, like I said, we've known each other for a long time. We've both been salon owners in our past, and we can
hmm
have a whole episode just about that. But we are
hmm
talking about you present day today. So I know you to be a full service hairdresser, but now I've noticed that you've pivoted to natural hair. So what
hmm
took you down that path?
It's funny. Back in like 2014, 15, I was working at Layden Mitchell
Oh
in
yeah.
Chandler.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
My ex-sister-in-law, Leslie.
Leslie. Yeah, I worked with
Yeah,
Leslie.
she
Yeah.
still works there.
And
Yeah,
yeah, she still works there. She was doing a lot of natural hair. And then one time, I had a lot of clients that saying, like, yeah, I think I want to stop
yeah,
relaxing my hair. I'm like,
yeah.
okay, yeah, all right. Well, we're just, what do you want to do? You just want to, like, maybe just press it. And, so a lot of them were like that. And then a few were like, can I wear mine like yours?
Okay.
I'm like, okay. I'm an OG curl. I should
Yeah.
have, like, kind of like named myself that.
Yeah.
I've been OG curly before it was popular. Back in the 90s, like after I got married, it was like, and it was by my mom. She said, when I started relaxing when I was like in high school, she said, "You're gonna get enough of that." She said, "Because that relaxer, it's just not good for your hair." I'm
Now
like, "Yeah,
what, Martha, is your ethnicity?
I am African American, but
Okay.
however, I'm definitely multicultural. Cultural.
100%.
Yeah,
Because your curl pattern is
yeah.
very, soft.
Right. If I didn't have anything in my hair, yeah, it would be definitely froed, and the curls would get even tighter. Kind of like a loose tight. I don't really like condone that chart, the 3A's, 3C. If somebody really needs that type of reference, I think I would be like maybe a 3C.
Well, who came up with that chart?
Mm-hmm. Yep, Oprah Winfrey's
Yep,
hairstylist. I
Andre.
bought his book, Andre. Yep, I bought his book.
I think at first I was like 100% against it. I'm not sure I'm even for it today, but what it did do is give some type of system when
Mm-hmm.
people all were going natural, right? Because right
Mm-hmm.
now, a relaxer is the devil. You wouldn't dare put that on your hair. I
Right.
would say
Yeah.
80% of women don't relax their hair anymore
Yeah.
unless they're wearing a pixie cut, and it's
Mm-hmm.
kind of necessary. I mean,
It
there's
is
no
kind of
way
necessary for that. There's
if
no
you want
way.
to wear it straight,
Right.
what you gonna do, Willie? You
Right.
know what I mean? That's what it
Exactly.
is.
Even if you had micro pattern, I mean, you can like take the foam setting lotion
Yeah,
and really
and get
smooth
it
it
flat.
down till the cows come home and really put like tightly that Sanic strip, but the curl is still going to rise. So
Exactly,
it's
because
better off
it's
doing
coily
relaxer.
hair.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. What was bothersome when the chart came out, the texture chart,
Mm-hmm.
was I found I felt, and this is probably on me, I felt like my clients found it on YouTube before the
Mm-hmm.
hair industry found it.
Mm-hmm.
So they were coming in, "Kim, do I have 4C hair? I put it in water and I did let it float to the top. I sink to the bottom. 4C for my what do you call it? Porosity test." And I know that's the
Mm-hmm.
porosity test. I already knew that, but not in
Mm-hmm.
relation to how they we were flooded with
Mm-hmm.
this DIY type information. We're left to regurgitate and try to make professional sense of this
Yeah.
when this is not how we were trained in beauty school to start. We've never heard it from any educator, any product
Mm-hmm.
line. And so here they come in. Am I a 4C or a 3B? I have no idea, child. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
In the beginning, I was like, child, I have no idea. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So then I had to go and
Well,
study it. And I'm like, it came from a hairdresser. I get that. I just didn't know. So
right.
that's why I was
Mm-hmm.
mad about it in the
Right.
beginning.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's funny that you say that. We've had to, kind of study it and, go back and figure it out because you think about the beginning of, of like during like slavery. No one was telling the slaves how to do their hair.
that's right.
So they used oils to prevent the bugs from coming into their hair because they were working out in the cotton fields for like all day till like sundown. They didn't have any tools to do their hair. So when the slave ships came over to the Americas and South Americas and the Caribbean, you had different tribes. So there were different dialects. So no one really spoke with each other like on how to do their hair. They had to improvise. They had to come up with their own thing. So it's kind of like that now. And the history of like relaxers, men were relaxing their hair first.
The conch.
Women were always doing, yeah, the conch. Madam C.J. Walker, I mean, she did the pressing comb. She came up with a product that made her a millionaire. But she wasn't relaxing her hair. She was pressing her hair.
Yep,
And
she
most of the
was.
women were. The men were
Mhm.
doing, they were conking their hair. My
And
dad
then
did
you
it. He
needed
conked his hair.
Oh, mine too. And then you
Yeah,
needed the grease to get the press. So that's
right.
where the oil just became a part of the culture. And I remember
Hmm.
growing up as a kid, that Blue Magic, which is back, by the way.
I did the Blue Magic too. And the Ultra
Yeah.
Sheen, the
Yeah,
Vita
Blue
Point,
Magic.
the Sulfur
Yeah.
8 when your scalp
Yeah.
is itching. So yeah, I've done it
VO5
all.
VO5 hot oil treatment,
Hmm.
girl. It's a whole history behind where we are today, and I feel like it's always to your point where you said, it just cyclical. It just keeps coming back.
It
It's
does.
the
It
trends
does.
are always going to recycle because
Hmm.
you run out of material. I mean,
You
what else
do.
could you possibly do? And there
Yeah.
are only so many shapes. There are
Hmm.
only so many ways you can curl your hair. There's only
Hmm.
I mean, what else can you do other than to pull from the past?
Right.
Another reason I created this show was to bridge the gap between old school versus new school because
Hmm.
there was for a while there, I think we're kind of, that gap is not as wide. We're
Hmm.
narrowing the gap,
Hmm.
but it was, well, back in my day, and then it was, oh my God, shut up, old timer. We don't do it like that anymore, blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah, right?
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
now we have this generation of digital natives where they were born on the internet,
Right.
meaning their sonogram is literally on the internet while they're in the belly, right?
That's funny.
So
That, yeah.
it's
Now that
true,
you say it
right?
like that, that's so true.
Yeah,
That's
and
so true.
their reveal. is on the internet.
Internet.
Oh, it's gonna be a girl.
Yeah.
What first trimesters on the internet, for God's sakes, right? So
Yeah.
their whole lives are chronicled on the internet, and then now they're
Mhm.
18 years old. They're your 18s, your 19s, 20s, probably,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
17. And now you're going into hairdressing, and you have this person who there was no internet when
Mhm.
they were born, right? That we
Right.
had access to
Right.
readily,
Mhm.
and you're trying to have a conversation. Well, how do you think that's going to go? Right? You think you're going to be able to relate? No, you're not going to be able to
Nope.
relate.
Not at
But
all.
but the
But
more things.
there's some out
Mhm.
there that are, open to like, learning
Oh,
and here. Yeah.
100%.
Mhm.
Yeah, they
Mhm.
100% are open to it, which I
Mhm.
love.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
So tell me, Martha, about At Natural and Professional. What's it about and who does it speak to?
Okay, the natural and professional was started by my cousin, and she entered her journey into natural hair back in 2014, 2013. This was somebody who she's a former English teacher and principal. But before that, before she became a teacher, she worked at Soft Sheen. She did advertising and marketing at Soft Sheen in
Give her
Chicago.
a shout out. What's your cousin's name?
Robin Collymore Henry.
Ooh,
She is
okay, Robin. Go, Robin.
She's Chicago's Curly on Instagram.
Okay.
So she started natural and professional because, when she went natural. She didn't do a big shop. She just wanted to like stop relaxing her hair and coloring it and just wanted to wear it natural. And she did for a while. She like pressed it and then she like roller set it and just tried to figure it out. And then she ventured into wearing it curly. And from there, she was using the Diva Curl products, and then she found that they weren't working for her hair pattern, her curl pattern. And then she found another stylist that started, helping her with her curl pattern and working with it. And
Yeah.
she just kind of fell in love with it. While she was a teacher, she helped a lot of students, and she worked at like urban high schools in Chicago. And some of these students didn't, think they could get to college. And so she just like, motivated them and showed them what they could do. And they eventually went to college. And so she does that even now today. She helps like, parents and, their kids, the steps you need to do to go to college. From there, she went on the college campuses. Her son went to Howard University. And then, so that was the first stop. And she took a stylist there and she talked to the students there how you can be natural and professional. So these were students that were like embarking on their, into their life, their career, and they're graduating. So some of them want to know, can I keep my locks? Can I wear it curly? Is this professional? Yes, it is professional. So that's how that started. Then COVID hit. No more visits at the colleges.
Yeah.
And then we were talking on the phone because, we were all at home. So she said, hey, would you mind, would you want to do a couple of Zoom sessions with me? Because there's still people that have to work, on Zoom, and they have to
Yeah.
look good. And these ladies, they don't know what to do with their hair. And that's how it started. So we did. And it became a community and it was fun. I look forward to it because, no one was talking to anybody. No one was outside. It was a refuge for everybody to kind of like, share their concerns, their fears. What if we never ever get back in the salon? What if
Yeah.
this? What if we never ever get outside? We all felt that. So,
That's great. So she's a mentor, really, and
hmm,
she teaches people how to think differently about
yeah.
their hair.
So
Yeah.
she's a natural, and then we have monthly Zoom calls, and I'm the professional. And so ladies, they kind of call in and, ask about their hair. And I'm at the point, I always was at the point, even when I started like dealing with like curly hair, I still had some clients that wear relaxers. And they said, Martha, I don't care.
Yeah. Oh,
I
oh, I
want that
got
creamy
one.
crack.
I got
And
one.
yeah, yeah. I'm
Uh-huh.
like, okay, all right, that's fine. Because one of them, she wears a pixie, so there's no way. But I kind of felt a little different about it when I was diagnosed with breast cancer. So,
Mm.
about 5 years ago. So I'm like, oh. And then more and more like literature came out about, is it, causing breast cancer or ovarian or uterine? I don't know. And clients ask me that. Do you think that was a cause? I'm like, I don't know. The only thing that I can think of is that my cancer was estrogen driven. Do they disrupt the hormone blockers some kind of way? Maybe. Yeah. Yeah. Do I wonder about that? Yeah, maybe. But, I've also dealt with color. They say color is the same thing. They've been finding that there's a link to that color,
Really?
So I don't know. Yeah.
Oh, I
I had an
know.
attorney reach out to me about that. So, I'm like, well,
Yeah,
I
I
don't know.
know. There's so much cancer and so in every part of
Mm-hmm.
our body now that it is insane, honestly. And I just started a new mini series, Seoul, Chasing Beauty, and that's Seoul, South Korea. I've been there twice in the last 3 weeks doing this medical treatment, which I'm going to talk all about in one of
Mm.
the episodes. They have been doing it for 16 years,
Yeah. And
and
for it
I
to come
never
over
heard of
here,
it.
it's got
Called
to go through the FDA and all that
The
stuff.
FDA here hasn't approved it, so I
Mm-hmm.
can't make any claims despite how I may or may not be feeling. I'm going to disclose in that episode why I did it and what's going on with me, etc. But it's called NK cell immune therapy, and you
Mm.
can Google it, and it is quite fascinating, is all I can
Mm.
say. But all of that said, that's interesting too because a lot of people leave hair because of
Mm-hmm.
cancer, the fear of
Mm-hmm.
cancer, or
Mm-hmm.
being a survivor of cancer,
Yeah.
what have you.
Yeah.
And it's one
Mm-hmm.
of those tricky, sticky things because your cleaning products, so can they, your makeup, so can it, the
Mm-hmm.
environment, the food, the what you
Mm-hmm.
touch. It's like, good God, how do
Mm-hmm.
you even pinpoint the origin of the
Yeah.
cancer, right?
Right.
You can only go by what you've touched, what you've allowed in your body, on top of your head. And to your point, relaxer for so many years being one of them. And hairdressers, we inhale Lord knows what
Mm-hmm.
all day, whether it's hairspray or Brazilian blowout or whatever it is you're doing. We didn't know how to protect ourselves for many
No.
years, and now we do.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So,
I wonder if it was that, the Brazilian blowout. I mean, I was doing that, and I mean, I
mhm.
didn't wasn't doing as much. I know stylists that were doing like 5 of them a day, and I'm like, no, I'm
Yeah,
not doing that.
smoky salon.
Smoky stuff, and I always like
Mhm.
protected myself. I wore a mask and everything, and but you just never know.
And I
So,
think a good rule of thumb next gen is to make sure that your place of business is properly ventilated. I think if we
mm-hmm,
had known better then, we knew, but
mm-hmm,
we didn't take it serious because
mm-hmm,
there was no data to say it did any harm.
mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm.
now, fast forward, we're having our experiences going, well, maybe it did.
Yeah, I
Well,
mean,
congratulations
thank
that
you,
you are
thank you.
still with us and back behind the chair, keeping it moving. You kicked
Yes,
cancer's butt. Thank
yes.
God. Give you your flowers, girl, because that's
Yes,
amazing.
I will take them. I will take them. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're so
Um,
welcome. And I
yeah.
love what you and your cousin are doing. And I'll put that
Hmm.
in the show notes so that more people can follow and learn more about what you're doing. So when you said you meet once a month, it's a live and it's a Q&A kind of thing. And what day is
Yes.
that you
It's
meet?
usually like on the fourth Monday. And so what they
Okay.
can do, they can reach out to me via Instagram or at Natural and Professional, and we can, drop their link in the DM, and then we'll like email you the link.
All right.
So
That's
I think, or
amazing.
now she handles that, the Natural and Professional. So she might post about it. I told her that she should post about it and then put the link in there so that way it's easily accessible for people to, join.
Yeah, and just tag
Hmm.
me because I'll collab and bring it over
Okay.
onto the page.
Okay.
Whatever you want to my audience to see, let me know. Just tag me and I'll move it over to the page.
Okay.
Put it
Cool.
in the
Thank you.
stories or on the grid. You also stepped out as a speaker at
Hmm.
Cupcakes and Conversations, and
Hmm.
Cupcakes spelled with a K. I love
Yeah.
that. I
Hmm.
love K spellings. What inspired you to share your voice in that way?
Again, that was something from us, Natural and Professional. I had done something with the Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority.
Mhm.
That's what my cousin is a member of. So we did at her
Mm.
chapter in Chicago, Theta Omega. And it was about a couple of hours of just conversations. And
Mhm.
the ladies asked about everything about their hair, everything
Mhm.
from like,
Mhm.
thinning hair to like how to obtain definition, different products, things like that. So it was a great time. My cousin designed it all, so she gave us an agenda. But I told her, I said, well, since I only fly into Chicago, we have to have a stylist there because these ladies are going to be ready to make an appointment. They're more than welcome to fly out here to Phoenix, to come to, my chair.
Yeah.
but you need to have somebody that's there. So we did
Yeah.
have a local stylist there that is now taking appointments. So yeah,
Yeah, she's
so
probably
it
like,
worked out.
"Woohoo, thank you."
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
you mentioned to me when I was, getting your background that you love to bake. How did that start, and what's your specialty? Like, what's your favorite
My
thing?
love with cakes. That's all.
I
I
love
love
cake
cake.
too. I'm a
That's my
cake, I'm not a
favorite. That's my
pie. I'm not a
favorite.
pie.
Now, well, I mean, if you're going to a buffet and you see everything from cakes, pies, puddings, what are you going to go for? I'm going for cake.
Cake.
That's what yeah. So you're a cake person. So I love cake and I love pound cake. So I got a recipe from a client, actually a good friend of mine, and it was her mom's recipe, and I've been using it for years and just tweaked it and made it my own. And then I've switched to like red velvet cake. So not mainly just pound cake, red velvet, and German chocolate cake. That's
Ooh-wee, give me red velvet, anything. Literally, and I have a pound cake recipe that I've been making for over 20 years now. It's literally the only thing my family will allow me to
allow
make
you to
and
have to
bring.
bring, yeah, to
Yeah, that
Thanksgiving
Kim, make
and
sure you bring
Christmas.
that
Yeah.
7 Up the 7 Up cake.
The 7 Up cake. Oh,
Yeah, I can
so
make it with
good.
my eyes closed. It's
Mm-hmm.
very
Mm-hmm.
good though. Yeah, so,
Mm-hmm.
we're gonna have to, like, swap
Collab.
recipes.
Yeah.
Yeah, collab and ooh, do, like, a live baking with Martha on Trendy with Kim Allison, like a little side special episode. That would be so
Uh-huh.
funny.
Maybe for around the holidays. Yeah, that'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, and
Definitely.
you also mentioned that you love line dancing. So what's your go-to song that gets you moving? Like where did this come about? Have you
Hmm.
always just loved to dance or did
I
you
do.
now are you getting caught up in the TikTok trends, all these line dancing
Oh my gosh. Yeah, the one it
challenges?
depends. It's like, oh my gosh. It's like I haven't tried that one yet, but I mean, the more I keep watching it, I know I could do it. It started with Boots on the Ground. Was it Boots on the Ground or my daughter?
What's the one with the fan?
That's Boots on the Ground.
Okay.
And then
Okay.
there's one with it's something with Diddy. It's a song that
Oh.
he made.
Oh,
So,
uh-oh.
and my daughter, yeah, I know. My daughter last year, she said, "Mom, we're gonna learn this." And so I said, "What is it?" And so she showed me on TikTok. I don't know the name of the song, but when I do, I'll like
Yeah.
email it to you.
Yeah, yeah.
So she's like, let's learn this." And so I'm like, "Okay." So we're on TikTok, and so she's like thinking that we can just like watch TikTok. I'm like, "No, no, that's not how any of this works." I said, "We got to go to the basics." So we went to YouTube, and you go to YouTube and you learn the basics. Like how to
Mm,
do boots on the ground or something like that. So I am part of another group, the Coalition of Blacks Against Cancer,
okay.
which is a wonderful group that like has helped me.
One of my clients, Dr. Halyard. Her name's
Oh yeah,
Michelle Halyard.
Michelle.
Yeah, she's one of my
Yes.
long time, like, ever since I've been a hairdresser.
I love Michelle.
Yeah,
So Michelle's sorrow was a good friend of mine who passed away, Barbara Watson
Barbara.
Riley. Barbara,
She was
did you
my
know
client
Barbara?
as well.
I did Barbara's hair when I had my salon in Awatuki, and then she
Okay,
and Brendan they moved to the East Coast, and when they came back, they lived in Scottsdale. So
correct.
I've been a part of that group, and
Yeah.
never thought, I remember when she like talked about it with us girls, and Barbara and I became friends, through my best friend and a couple other friends. We started a book club. This is like back in like the '90s, and
Mm,
the book club became a wine club because that's all we did was drink
yes,
wine. And she gets
exactly.
so mad at us that, guys, let's talk about the book. I'm like, okay. We talk like maybe like 30 minutes about the book, and then we'd go on to like discussing other stuff. So when the cancer journey came around, and another good friend of mine, Gina Bowser, do you know Gina?
I've heard the name, but
Yeah, she's
I
a
don't know
former
her
hairstylist
personally.
too.
Yeah, that I've heard her name, yeah.
This past, they're going to have an event which they do every year around September, which is this is their night in Paris, event.
Mhm,
It's at the Westin at the Kierland, and
mhm.
it's just a fun night where they just like kind of devoted to us. Last year we did a night in New Orleans, and we came
Yep.
in. They had like a band there, and we like just kind of came in with like with our mask on, so that was fun. This year they're talking about we're gonna maybe is anybody ready to do boots on the ground? So I'm like, I am. So we did that at our brunch this past spring. We had a teacher. She came out and showed us boots on the ground and many other line dances. So there's like
Wow.
over like 5,000 line dances.
Oh
So
god, get out. There
I'm
ain't no
serious,
way.
girl.
That's an outlet, isn't it? That's a
It is an
release,
outlet. It's just
especially
a lot of
doing what
fun.
we do for a living.
It's
Mhm.
just a lot of fun.
And karaoke is your other little your 3rd little passion. So what's your
Yeah.
number 1 song when you grab the mic? Like, what are you singing?
Whatever I feel like singing, usually
Okay.
like
Do you
a
actually
Jill
know how to
Scott.
sing, though?
I do. I
You do?
do. A little
I can
bit. A
kinda
little bit.
tell in your
A
speaking
little bit.
voice that
A
you
little
have a
bit.
smoky
Mm.
singing voice.
Like a little like bluesy
A
jazz.
little bit, yeah. Did you sing in church?
I was in choir for like,
Mhm.
mainly in school, elementary, middle school, and high
Okay,
school.
okay. Did you ever wanna go Hollywood and not hairdresser?
Mm-mm.
No.
Mm-mm.
You never want to
Mm-mm.
go and be an actress or a singer. Okay.
No, I'm so glad because that just
Yeah,
seems like that would just be even harder.
dark.
Nor did I want to be a stylist to the stars.
I've had my fair share of celebrities and girl, like, you talk about rode hard and hung wet. That was
Yeah.
me. I was like, "Woo."
Ooh, yeah.
I mean, be careful what you wish for, and if you do wish for it, make sure you're being very specific on who that celebrity is gonna be. That is
Mm-hmm.
my advice,
Mm-hmm.
100%. Martha, what have you learned about yourself through all of these creative outlets outside of hair? What do you think all of this teaches you about yourself?
That I have the drive to go out and do it, to learn. If it's something that really like piques my interest, I definitely will take the time to like focus in on that and
Yeah.
learn and just like master it. As I've gotten older, I've like been a little less, stressed on myself, been a little bit more easy, like sometimes you're not going to get it the first time, but you just keep doing it repetitive. I just kind of master it on my own. So,
Yeah, you do a lot of
mhm.
practicing of, your crafts. Yeah,
I
that's how
do.
you
I
get
do
perfect.
a lot of education, but
Mhm.
another thing about that is what I tell the young people is like first decide what you want to do.
Mhm.
It's hard to like, oh, I want to do a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And it's like I remember like investing in what's the
Great
one?
lengths.
Great Links. Girl,
Yeah, one by one hair by hair at a time, girl. We were
I
even mixing the highlights
I
together.
hated
I'm
it.
like,
I
"Oh
hated
my
it. I was
god."
like, I hate this. And I was working on my model. I'm like, that voice came like, no, this ain't for me. I hate
Yeah.
this.
That notion that you have to do everything.
You
You don't
don't.
have
You
to do
don't have to do
everything.
everything. You do not have to do everything.
Mhm.
Just
What's the
do
last
what
class you took?
the Mona cut. She came out here from New York City.
Is that a
From
curly cut?
Yes,
Okay.
it was a curl cut, but her whole thing was like, cutting for shape and silhouette. So
Okay.
she basically just like showed how, the lines are still there in curly cutting.
Yeah.
It's just a different way. You're being respectful and you're being intentional with the
Mhm.
shrinkage, whatever curl that you're, using, that you're working with. Let's see, there's a couple other ones that are kind of piquing my interest, like color analysis.
I took classes with chemistry of color. That's an
Mm-hmm.
excellent, excellent
Mm-hmm. Is
program.
it? Okay.
Uh-huh, and then I had a guest on who it must be a good program if it takes her around the world teaching
Mm.
people, but her
Mm-hmm.
platform is called The Colorist Blueprint.
Mm.
Jenna Caldwell. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so and she's high energy and high education, like, even the episode I did with her, I had to split it in 2 parts, it was just so much information,
Mm.
and, she has a lot of engagement, a lot of followers, and her
Mm-hmm.
words, she's able to articulate in a way that is digestible.
Just about. Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like
That's definitely
Ashley
important.
Norman. Yeah, like Ashley
Mm-hmm.
Norman. I just took her class last week,
Mm-hmm.
and she really knows how to break it down in a way that you can absorb what she's saying. You know,
Mm-hmm.
she takes something that's really hard, that looks hard, and
Mm-hmm.
simplifies it. Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. I noticed that about that. I'm like, oh wow, never
Yeah,
would have thought about doing it that way.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. What does she call that? It's a balayage technique, but the way she does it, it's like air touch
Well, air
something.
touch is a technique. She's not the only one that does it. It was
Right.
actually created by a Russian hairdresser who lives now in Miami.
Mm-hmm.
Good Lord, me and names, we don't get
I
along.
know.
I cannot remember his name, but he is
Mm-hmm.
the original. He created air touch.
Okay.
And another, so Danilo, I think is his name.
I think yeah, that's
Yeah,
yeah.
he's definitely mastered it. I guess he was trained by him, allegedly. Don't quote me, I don't know, but that's
Okay.
what I heard. Looking forward, what's next for you? both hair and in life?
I think about that on the daily, what's next for me for
Mm,
hair. I think my cousin and I, we definitely want to move forward with the natural and professional where we are doing that. Would like to do more speaking engagements, with sororities, like college campuses, and possibly other like women's groups, support groups to talk about like, hair and just getting people to, understand that, meet them where they are. If you don't want to be curly, that's fine. But, we're here for you. If you don't want to be natural, that's fine. I can talk about things, but our focus is on like natural hair. And I think about like when I should retire. And, people ask me, when are you going to retire? I'm like, I don't know.
I know.
I don't know.
Same.
So
When it feels right.
when it feels right, I guess.
I have this crazy hankering to open up a salon one more time. I'm trying to pray it away, but it's not going away, so we'll see.
Yeah.
We
You
will
like salon
see.
ownership.
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. You
I
didn't?
don't know. I think it caught me at is another thing for newbies. Just because you're busy behind a chair does not mean you need to open up a salon.
100%. That is exactly what that
That
does
does
not
not mean
mean.
you need to
You are
open up a
right.
salon.
Yeah, and that's a great segue into any last words for the newbies. What wisdom would you like to impart on the next
Yes.
generation of beauty pros?
Education is definitely a must. I wrote my notes.
Good.
It helps us to
Love
stay
it.
abreast, keeps us sharp, motivates us. However, whatever you take away from that class, look and learn, or if you do a hands-on, it's important that you practice it because you will lose it. Because as many like trainings that I've had, there's some where I didn't really need to take that, but I did it anyway because it was just a thing to do. But you got to practice it, practice it, practice it. Most times when we learn a new info, we run into the learning curve. There's always that. That's another reason why you have to keep practicing because then questions come up. Some where you can answer right away, or some where you have to, like, oh, okay, still take a little bit more education, go in depth to kind of figure out what the next step is,
Yeah.
you know? Because
Yeah.
when you're teaching, I don't know if you've educated. I mean, I have like some stylists, like where I am now, I'm at a salon, a suite. I never thought I would be in suites, but it just kind of happened that way.
You like it?
Yeah, I do. I do like
Okay.
it. It helped me like understand how to like brand myself instead of like being on the coattails of a salon, which I did at Lady Mitchell. I helped this one stylist on Saturday. She said, "Okay, I got this color." So she's showing me like what the hair looks like. So what do you think? What would you do? What should I do? And so I was telling her what I would do, and she's like, "You really need to like kind of help us with color. Maybe we should do a class or something." The only time I've ever educated is when I had assistants,
Mhm.
and that's when
Mhm.
I had the salon.
Yeah.
Another thing I would say, if I could tell my younger self what I know now, I think I said that before, assisting someone is not a bad thing. You will find your mentor,
Mhm.
so, and I wish someone had told me that. Being an assistant, it teaches you discipline. And it's funny how I didn't want to be an assistant, but I had assistants. But I didn't want to, like, oh, you got to assist for me for 2 years and then,
Yeah.
move to the floor. I didn't do that to them. So
Yeah.
understanding the business side of the industry is just as important as the technical side.
100%.
I don't know how I could go about doing this, but I would love to see our industry move into a college curriculum.
Yeah.
Why is it that you have culinary arts,
Yep.
hotel management?
Yep.
Why not salon management?
That's true.
So,
No, good point. Hey, that's
mhm.
a pitch.
And I don't know. And when I went to school, and I don't know if it was like this for you, like, the teacher, if they didn't know anything, especially when it came to like black hair, they was like, oh, you probably know better than I do. So,
And you end up teaching the school. Yeah, like you work there,
yeah,
like it's
you
your
work on
job.
that client that came in that no one else could do. So social media is a blessing for us to showcase our work, and yet it's a curse, the pressure to
Yeah.
maintain relevance.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It can lead to
Yep.
an insurmountable amount of mental anguish and stress.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
especially
so,
if you don't, have the right mindset going in, you have to be hyper focused on you
mm-hmm.
only.
Yeah.
if you get caught up in what everybody else is doing and you start measuring yourself against what other people are doing, that is
Mm-hmm.
the worst approach to social media
It
because
is.
you don't know what skill, when they started, how they started. You don't know what the foundation of that person. You don't know if they
Mm-hmm.
have a big production behind them. You don't know if I don't know. It's just a dumb thing to do.
It is.
Measure yourself against other people in life, in
Yeah.
hair, in any
Mm-hmm.
facet, quite
Yep.
honestly.
Another thing, I used to think that the more clients that I saw, the more successful I was. Yet I
Mm,
was exhausted, mentally
yeah,
tapped out,
yep,
starving, because
yep,
we don't eat, we don't take lunch hours.
right.
So, but you have to first give to yourself before you can share your gift with everyone else. That's really important. Challenges to natural hair is our understanding what we think of our hair and how to style it. And one of the things that I'd like made note of, like I said, when I told my cousin when we did Cupcakes and Conversations, I said, I
Yeah,
really want to say something to the audience and hopefully they will resonate with it. It's like, we can make your curls look beautiful, especially within like the, tight curl community, but I can't make you feel beautiful in them.
that's
I
inner.
cannot make you
That's
feel
inner
beautiful in them.
self. Yeah, yeah.
And when I started going curly, before I became OG, I went back and forth. I like, straighten it, blew it out, want to see how long it is and everything. But that all went. I don't care about that much anymore. So
Yeah.
especially after when I lost it all when I went through
Yes.
treatment. So now it's like, I'm just happy that it's back. My hair is back on my head and it's, the way it was because I thought it was going to be straight, but.
Were you completely bald?
Hmm.
Okay, it all
Hmm.
came out.
All came
Stage
out.
1, stage 2,
It
stage
was
3.
stage one.
Okay,
And
good.
like you, I have shaved, my clients, and
And here you are.
it's a very like trying
Sobering.
service, very sobering.
Mhm.
Some were like cool about it, some were like, oh, it's just hair, and they're joking about it, but it's like it's hard even as a stylist to do it, because we build relationships with clients.
Yeah,
People would always tell me like other friends stylists when they cut my hair and like you have a lot of hair. And I've always been told that and I know I
yeah.
do. But I tell you, Kim, I thought it started coming out Thanksgiving Day. I had sat down to cook, from cooking. I went like this, and then a glob of it was on my hand. I'm like, uh
Get
oh.
it.
Yeah, it was
Oh
exactly two
god.
weeks from when they said it would. The doctor said
So
it would.
your heart must have went,
Oh my
"Whoa."
gosh, yes. So I thought about it. I'm like, well, I don't know why I did this, but it's like, let me shampoo it first and see.
Of course.
But when you shampoo it, it
Oh,
becomes like a mat that you cannot, no amount of conditioner
really?
on this earth will like detangle.
You know what comes to mind is when people get relaxers, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's so freaking tangly, their hair, right? Because the hair
Mm-hmm.
is just dead. Hair is
Mm-hmm.
already dead tissue once it comes out of the
Mm-hmm.
scalp. Not, but
Mm-hmm.
I mean the hair is lifeless,
Mm-hmm.
right? So when the hair is lifeless, it just collapses into itself.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing I can think of that would make
That's
sense
exactly
of
what it
it
does. It just binds
tangling.
and twines into itself, and it's like
Yeah.
it just like kind of curls up, and it doesn't release anymore. I still was able to style it. It was like it was a struggle, but and I came out and I told my husband, my daughter, I said, "Yeah, my hair's falling out. I don't know." And they're like, "You still look like you have a lot." We did Thanksgiving and then came back later that night or the next day. My husband, he shaved it, and then he was really sweet. He was trying to give me a little style, get a little, leave a little bit on the top. But what happens is that you feel it. Your scalp
Yeah.
feels it. It's like that hair is like, it's
Mm.
I can't describe it. It's not. It's like itchy and kind of like irritated at the same time, and it's like you just want it off.
Ah.
And then little hairs come out. Little hairs come out, and then it was just like itching me. So when he came home that night, I said, you got to take me all the way bald."
You know, that I've never heard that.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta do my homework on that.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting.
Soft cells are the first to go, and that's hair.
You know, it
Yep.
gets rid of what it doesn't need so it can work
Mm-hmm.
on the big
Mm-hmm.
stuff. real quick, NK cell immune therapy, that's what they use in Korea. They get
Mm-hmm.
clients from Japan, Singapore, obviously Korea, and where else did he say? Because I asked him, I said, I've never heard of this. Why don't
Mm-hmm.
we know this in the United States? He said, we don't get very many people from the United States.
Yeah.
So my husband did stem cells, my daughter did stem cells, and I did the NK. So between the three of us, we're going to do an episode together where we kind of take questions and you can just ask us everything. We're going to talk about everything we did. So that'll
Okay.
be a fun one to watch in this next series that I do. Thank you for the chat, Martha. Nobody gets out of here without going through my 60-second blowout. So I know you watched one
Okay.
of my episodes, so you are
Yes.
no different, girl. So are
Okay.
you ready? I'm going to
I'm
set
ready.
a minute timer. Quick questions, quick answers. Let's go.
All right.
Karaoke song. What's your go-to?
Mm,
Quick, quick.
golden.
Chocolate cake or vanilla cake?
Vanilla cake.
Electric slide or Cupid shuffle?
Electric slide. Cupid
Prince or
shuffle.
Michael, better hair? Which one?
Prince.
Cupcakes or cookies?
Cupcakes.
Line dance indoors or at the club?
At the club.
Favorites, favorite 80s or 90s jam?
Ooh, 90s. I like by Guy.
There you go. Sneakers, heels, or comfy slides?
Sneakers.
Dream vacation spot?
Anything with the beach. Caribbean.
Most used emoji?
Oh gosh. LOL.
One song that always lifts your mood?
Mm, oh, Stevie Wonder. What's the song? I'll be loving you always. I think that's Ass is, or something. I forgot
Woo,
the
we
name of
even
it.
got bars. I knew it. We got everything and more. That was your minute. I think you did really well.
Woo
You know
woo!
yourself better than anybody. And I had such a fun time today chatting with
I
you.
did too.
I love that. And I'm so glad that we finally got to do this. We've been talking
Yes,
about it.
yes, definitely.
So let's reconnect somewhere down the line.
Definitely. I really appreciate what you're doing. It's fantastic. And I thank you for having me.
No, you're welcome. And where, before I let you go, can my audience find you and your amazing skills?
I'm at Inside My Salon Suite at 3431 West Fry Road in Chandler, Arizona. Suite 4. I'm in Studio 114. On Instagram at Marvelous U Styles. And it's the letter U.
And are you on
Hmm.
TikTok too, or just
I am.
Instagram?
It's at Marvelous 397.
Martha, have the best day.
Thank you, you too.
Okay,
Bye
bye.
bye.